If you're buying a house in Louisiana right now, it's a little bit of a tough market. Prices are higher than they've ever been. Interest rates are higher than as far back as I can remember. And homeowners insurance has just gotten more and more expensive. But don't worry, there are still good deals out there to be had. And that's what we're talking about in this video. We're gonna talk about 4 ways you can still find a good deal in this tough market. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Shaun, Ramos here, and this is Living in Louisiana, where we're talking everything that you need to know when it comes to what it's like moving to or living in Louisiana. So if that's what you're looking for, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell, because every week I'm putting out brand new videos just like this one. And in case you didn't know, I am a licensed realtor in the state of Louisiana. As much as I do love making these videos for you guys, what I really love is to help you with those real estate needs. So that number that's popping up on your screen right now is the best way that you can reach me. Every single one of those calls, texts, and emails comes directly to me, and I love hearing from you guys. So let me know if there's anything at all that I can do to help. Before we jump right into how you can find the best deals in this tough market, let's talk a little bit about the state of the current market. Now, it's been a crazy few years. So I got started in real estate in 2017, and that was the pre-COVID years. And back then, it was more of a buyer's market. It was nothing to see a house take 60, 90, 120 days or more to sell. So buyers had the upper hand in this market. They could negotiate on the price and the terms and really be picky. Pretty much every buyer I worked with, we were able to get the house below the list price. We could get closing costs from the seller. We could get home warranties. We could get the seller to provide a termite certificate. We could basically ask for anything we wanted. And then came COVID. I was really only a couple years into it at that point, and I was in a little bit of a panic, to be honest. Nobody knew what was gonna happen. They were shutting businesses down left and right. So my thought was, if the appraisers can't appraise and the inspectors can't inspect and the title companies can't go into the office, then how are we gonna sell houses? Apparently we were deemed essential and we were able to keep working. And the market just went crazy. Demand went through the roof. Inventory got to all-time lows. And we did a complete 180 from being in a buyer's market to an extreme seller's market. So things were pretty crazy for our market, but not quite as bad as they were in other parts of the country. I know agents all over the country, and I was hearing stories of buyers having to pay $50,000, $100,000 over list price, and they were having to come up with the difference between the appraised value and the actual sale price out of pocket. So while things were extremely competitive here, we didn't really see that. A lot of times, just being able to pay your own closing costs could win you the house. But if you did have to go over list price, then you're talking typically $5,000, $10,000, maybe $15,000.
It's not bad at all.
So now that we're in post-COVID times, house prices are still high, interest rates have gone way up, and demand is super low compared to what it was. And everybody wants to know what's gonna happen with the market, but the reality is nobody knows. Just depending on who you listen to, some people say the rates are gonna go up even more, some people say they're gonna come down soon. But what I do know is there's a lot of pent-up demand out there. So when the rates do eventually come down, I fully expect to see the competition go right back up. So if I were in the market to buy a house, I would get out there and try to get it done now before that happens. But here's the reality. The rates just are what they are. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. So I'm just advising buyers right now that if you can afford to buy and you need to buy, let's just assume the worst. Just assume the rates are gonna stay where they're at, or assume they're gonna go even higher. And if you buy that house and the rates come down, then it's just a bonus and you get to refinance. The good news is there are ways to find a good deal even in this tough market. So let's get into those. First thing you can do, if it's an option for you, is pay cash for your house. Now, COVID brought out a lot of cash buyers, or at least that's when I started noticing more cash buyers. Now, if I'm a seller, there are multiple reasons that I would prefer a cash offer over a financed offer. For one, they're faster. You're taking the lender out of the equation. There is no appraisal unless you just choose to have one. And then there's also more certainty that the deal is actually gonna get to the closing tables because it can't fall apart due to the buyer's financing, which tends to happen more than you'd think. And while a cash offer is appealing to a seller, if there are multiple offers that are the same, they're gonna take the cash offer over the financed offer. Don't kid yourself to think that they're just gonna give the house away because you're paying cash. In the end, whether it's a cash sale sale or whether it's finance, the mortgage is getting paid off, the seller's gonna get their proceeds, and they're walking out of the closing with a check. But it probably is worth something to the seller to get that speed and to get that certainty, so they may be willing to deal a little bit for a cash offer. And maybe you're not paying cash for the entire purchase price. Maybe you just have a really big down payment. I did a deal recently where I represented the buyer and they had about a 60% down payment. And we were able to negotiate a little bit and get a little bit off the price and get some concessions from the seller to help with their out-of-pocket costs as far as closing costs go. Second thing I want to talk about are rate buy downs. Some sellers are out there offering concessions to help the buyer with their interest rate without the buyer even asking. And the buyer can use these concessions however they want. They can use it to knock down the purchase price, they can use it to cover some of their closing costs, or they can use it to buy their interest rate down. And that's also what I'm advising buyers to do right now, is use as much of that as you can to buy your interest rate down as much as you can. And if there's any left over, use it to help cover your closing costs. Because if you put $5,000 towards buying your interest rate down compared to just knocking $5,000 off the purchase price, you're looking at hundreds of dollars of difference. Now, this has pretty much always been a normal thing for new construction, but we're starting to see more and more pre-existing home sellers offer concessions. I've actually got a listing right now in Watson where the sellers are offering $10,000 to the buyer to put towards their closing costs or to buy their rate down. So just so you have a real life example, let's jump in the computer on a calculator and take a look at what those numbers actually look like. And you've got some options as far as how you want to go about buying the rate down. You got options like the 2-1 buy down or the 3-2-1 buy down, where you buy your rate down for a certain amount of years and then it goes to whatever the interest rate is after that period expires. Or you can take that money and you can permanently buy your rate down. So it may not get quite as low as a 2-1 buy down would in that first year, but it is gonna last for the entire life of your loan. And the best way to find out which option is the best for you is to actually talk to a lender, have them run the numbers for each scenario so you can compare and contrast and see which one works better for you. But if you know this is a short-term purchase and you're gonna be out of there in the next 4 to 5 years, then I'm probably taking one of the temporary buy downs so I can get the bigger discount up front. If this is more of a long-term purchase and I'm planning on being in the house 10 years or more, then I'm more than likely taking the buy down that's gonna cover the life of the loan. But let's look at a real life example. I've got a listing right now in Watson that's offering $10,000 to the buyer towards their closing costs and or interest rate buy down. So I'm gonna jump in the computer and I'm gonna find an online calculator where we can look at the numbers and actually see how it works out for a 2-1 buy down. All right, so this is the listing I've got at 8717 Taylor Street, Denham Springs, Louisiana. So you can see the purchase price is $339,000 and the sellers are offering $10,000 towards the buyer's closing costs and or interest rate buy down. So let's just see what that looks like if you run the numbers through a mortgage calculator. Let's see. $339,000 purchase price. Let's do a conventional loan with a 5% down payment, which is pretty typical. So then we're gonna do a 30-year mortgage and we're gonna say 7.75% interest rate. Just kind of keep it about what I'm seeing. 70706 for the zip code. All right, and let's just assume for this example, so property taxes, let's assume $2,400 per year for taxes and insurance. So $200 for taxes, $200 for insurance. Okay, so that gives us a payment of $2,707 per month. So when we go over to the 2-1 buy down cost calculator, let's run these numbers. So we're gonna do third-party contribution of $10,000, which is what the sellers are offering, and a loan amount for a 95% of the $339,000, I believe $322,050. We're gonna make that interest rate 7.75%, 30-year loan, again, $2,400 a year for taxes, $2,400 for insurance. Now when we run the costs, so it's gonna cost $7,754.52 to get that 2-1 buy down. But since sellers are offering $10,000, you're still gonna have an additional $2,245.48 to put towards your closing costs. So that will help with your out-of-pocket costs. Okay, so let's take a look and see what exactly this does for your payment. So remember, your regular payment is $2,707.21. but on year one, your payment's only gonna be $2,279.40, which saves you $427.81 per month. Year two, your payment goes to $2,488.81, which saves you $218.40. Then on year three, you go to the $2,707 payment. So for year one, you're saving $427 and change. Year two, you're saving $218 and change every single month. Now, your third option for finding a really good deal in this market is by looking at new construction. So it's been going on for a long time now. The builders just offer incentives to try to attract buyers to their communities. But in this market with soaring interest rates, builders have really stepped it up in what they're offering. There's some local builders like Willie and Willie and Level Homes that are offering a lower than market interest rate plus some closing costs. And then you've got a big national builder like a D.R. Horton who's offering crazy incentives. I don't want to get too specific, but right now as I'm recording this, the interest rates are hovering around 8%. And these can change day to day, week to week, so don't hold me to this. As a matter of fact, if you're interested in finding out more about this, make sure you reach out to me. Let's get on a Zoom call, jump on a phone call, and I can tell you exactly what incentives are being offered at the time. But right now, in certain neighborhoods, D.R. Horton is offering $15,000 for the buyer for any allowances to go towards closing costs or some upgrades like appliances or blinds or things like that. And on top of that, they're offering a 5.99% interest rate with a 2-1 buy down. So in year one, you're getting a 3.99, year two, you're getting 4.99, and then year three, that 5.99 kicks in for the rest of the loan. Now your payment looks a lot different at 3.99% than it does at 7.5 to 8% market rates right now. Even at 5.99, you're still talking hundreds of dollars a month. So again, if you want to find out what the current incentives are for all of the builders in the area, make sure you reach out to me. Okay, the number 4 way that you can find a good deal in this market is by looking at houses that have assumable loans. If we can find this for you, you actually have the opportunity to assume the seller's loan. So if the seller has a mortgage with a 3% interest rate and you can qualify, then you can just slide right into their mortgage. But there is a caveat to that. You're likely gonna need significant money out of pocket to make it work. So assume that the seller's mortgage balance is $300,000, but they're selling the house for $400,000. If you assume that $300,000 mortgage, you also have to come up with the extra $100,000 out of pocket. But if that's an option for you, then it's something you definitely may want to look into. And this is something that I honestly don't see happen a lot because I think the majority of people just don't have that big chunk of money that they need to make up the difference, but something to keep in mind. So quick recap, the 4 ways that you can find a deal in this market are by paying cash, looking into rate buy downs, looking into new construction, or exploring the possibility of assumable loans. Now, obviously, you're gonna need an experienced agent to help you through this process. So that number that's popping up on your screen right now is the best way that you can reach me. I would be happy to help you with any real estate needs that you have. And don't wait until you're ready to buy to give me a call. If you found any value from this video at all, go ahead and give me a call. Let's just get the conversation started. There's no pressure and no obligation. I'm here to be a resource for you for anything real estate related, and I love hearing from you guys. And guys, if you haven't done it yet, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell because every week I'm putting out new videos just like this one, and I wanna make sure that you get notified every time a new one comes out. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you on the next video.